the regular council meeting, Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, January the 19th, 2015 at 2:00 p.m. in council chambers. So I will call the meeting to order, and I'm looking at the adoption of minutes, Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of December the 15th, regular open minutes of December the 15th, and special open budget minutes of January 12th, 2015. And if there's no problem, those will be adopted by consensus. Any business arising from the minutes? No. Any introduction of late items? No. Okay, we'll go on to delegations, and we do not have any delegations, other than we have Val here from, it used to be Channel 18, and it's now Channel 10. So all of you watching at home, you'll be watching on Channel 10. Thank you. Water matters. Water matters in the, we have to go down to page 96. That was a lot. We're going to get through this quickly. So we have water district cash requirements to January the 19th, 2015 in the amount of $8,195.68. And would you like to move the adoption of that? Councillor Moreira, Councillor Ray, all in favor? Thank you. That's adopted. And next we have the Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw. Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So before Council is the Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw 1308. This is for Council to renew their line of credit with the Bank of Montreal. Section 177 of the Community Charter allows a municipality, by bylaw, to establish a bylaw for providing for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. This bylaw authorizes the municipality to borrow up to $1.5 million to meet current expenditures and pay amounts to meet the municipality's taxing obligations. This line of credit is set up with the Bank of Montreal. If its operating line of credit is used, the revenue from property taxes must be used to repay the money borrowed. In 2014, the town of Osoyoos did not go into their line of credit. Under the implications for community, this allows for operations to continue until funding comes in for taxation. Organizationally, there's no impacts. Budget, there's no impacts. Significant dates, this new bylaw needs to be adopted by February of 2015, and under sustainability, it allows for fiscal management. So the option before Council is to give first three readings to Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw 1308-2015. And just for our new councillors that are here, we are currently doing all of our banking through the Bank of Montreal. That's why we're, and that's where our general checking account is, and that's why we're asking for the line of credit with the Bank of Montreal.
Okay, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'll step out of the box here and recommend that we, and I'll move option number 1.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Okay, thank you, Councillor Youngberg. Is there any discussion about this? Pardon me, go ahead, okay. Councillor Rhodes. I was just going to ask if, I know that this is like a line of credit which most people never use. Has it, and you didn't use it last year, is there a time when we have had to use it?
No.
Okay.
Historically, in the years that I've been here, we have not used it.
Okay. That's
but
what
it's just a requirement to ensure.
Absolutely, to make sure.
Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes. Oh, we had the same question. Okay. So, all in favor of option 1? Give them first three readings. Thank you. That's passed. Thank you very much. And next we have this is a meeting report for Water Councillor Mr. Ray, and he went to the George Cuff on November the 26th, the same meeting that some of us had already put in for. So we need a motion to pay Mr. Ray Thank you. 1, 2, Rhodes, Campbell, all in favor? Thank you. And the next is the Osoyoos Secondary School bursaries. Mr. Zackel.
Thank you. So the Osoyoos Secondary School has asked the town of Osoyoos if they wish to continue providing some awards to their graduating students. So the Osoyoos Secondary School has sent out their application form to organizations looking for scholarships, bursaries, and awards for graduates of the Osoyoos Secondary School. The date for receiving the completed form is February 13th, 2015. There are 3 categories in which the financial donations fall into. The first one, scholarships for scholastic requirement to qualify. The second, under awards, the award is neither a scholastic or financial need requirement to qualify. And 3, for bursaries, the student must demonstrate financial need or hardship to qualify. So in 2014, the town of Osoyoos provided 3 bursaries to students of the graduating class from the Osoyoos Secondary School in the amount of $750 each. This is an annual request made by the Osoyoos Secondary School. Consideration may be given by council if they wish to give a longer-term commitment to the Osoyoos Secondary School for graduating students. These bursaries are paid to the student once they provide proof that they are registered for post-secondary education. Implications under the community. This provides a little bit of assistance to the graduating student from Osoyoos Secondary School, helping out with some of their post-secondary costs. Organizationally, the mayor or mayor's designate would present the bursaries at the Osoyoos Secondary award ceremonies. And under budget, no budget implications if the amount of $2,250 is not changed, and these funds come out of the grant and aid pool of funds. Under significant dates, the Osoyoos Secondary School needs to be notified of council's decision no later than February 13th, 2015. And under sustainability, allows for financial support to 3 students going on to post-secondary schools. So some options before council: to award 3 bursaries to graduates of the Osoyoos Secondary in the amount of $750 each. Option 2, to award 3 bursaries to graduating students of Osoyoos Secondary in amount of $758 each for the years 2015, 16, and 17. And option 3, not to award any bursaries in 2015. And before council, I'm recommending option 2 so that we can basically deal with this once in a 3-year term if council considers that. But that's entirely up to council to make that choice.
I'm just wondering if there, we might want to consider a different amount. If we did happen to go with option 2 and next year we decided to change it, is that a possibility? No. If we do this, it's set in stone. Okay.
That's
council.
Correct.
Yes, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So I'd like to make a motion based on the wording in number 2, with the exception of the amount, and I'd like to the motion to be worded at 1,000 rather than the 750. So that would be 3 years and 3 bursaries per year at $1,000. And I can speak to that if.
I'll second that.
Okay, and Councillor Rhodes, do you want to explain that?
Thanks again. So when you look at the opening comments in the report, these are awarded every year to students who demonstrate hardship and a definite need for the money. And over the last few years, one of the things that we always get is a letter or some acknowledgement or a thank you from the recipients of this amount every year. And those are so well accepted, and they're just genuinely needed by these individuals. And you hate to see somebody that's doing really well scholastically and not be able to afford to go on. And I know the $750 or the $1,000 amount doesn't pay for an awful lot when it comes to education, but it's sure an acknowledgement that their community is helping them out a little bit. And once you start to see some of the letters that come back and the genuine it's hard to put it into words, but they're really, really well accepted. And these students go on and they have this memory that they carry around with them all the time. So I know I'm trying to be a little passionate here, but I think that $1,000 is something that we can afford. It's well within our budget. It does take away a little bit from the grant and aid program or the community grant program, but you know, it certainly goes to somebody that really appreciates it every year. Actually, 3 people every year.
Thank you. Councillor Youngberg?
Yes, I concur with Councillor Rhodes. I think that the cost of everything's going up, and $750 and the $250 increase is what we can afford, and I think that's absolutely acceptable to me. One question I have is who makes a decision on the applications that are sent?
Yeah.
That is usually the school itself will make those determinations.
And they make the recommendation to the town?
Yep.
Except
Well,
1, 2, and 3 kind of thing?
no, they actually present the town with these are the 3 students that are receiving the bursaries.
Oh, I see.
So they do all of the review and critique, and it follows their guidelines of the funding that we're placed. So we can put provisions in there, but it just makes their job a little more challenging when awarding the bursaries.
So the definition of scholarships and bursaries in the eyes of the town are the same? The school has at one time explained to me scholarships are different than bursaries.
They are totally different. Scholarships are basically for the scholastic students only. Bursaries are for basically, it could be for any of the students that determine that they have a financial need for assistance for post-secondary education. They can be scholastic, they can be athletic, or they can be...
And they make the recommendation based on that criteria?
Yes.
Thanks.
And could I just say that the awards, the middle one, that is something that is done by a specific organization. For instance, the Knights of Columbus could give that, and it would have to be somebody of their choice. So that's the 3 different things there. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this? So the motion is, Ms. Scott, would you read that back to us, please?
Yes, moved by Councillor Rhodes, second by Councillor King, and resolved that Council approves annually awarding 3 bursaries to graduates of Osoyoos Secondary School in the amount of $1,000 each for the years 2015, 2016, and 2017.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. I'd just like to point out, having been a teacher and been involved with this for a while, that this town of Osoyoos, is extremely generous with bursaries and awards and scholarships, and the students here are extremely lucky. They do very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item that we have on here is the Airport Industrial Park Development, number 6. Mr. Romanko.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. The previous council passed the following motion. It was an in-camera motion moved by Councillor Rhodes and seconded by Councillor Ryan, and resolved the council approves that actions be taken by the administration to repurpose the airstrip lands into industrial lands, and this motion was carried. This motion was released to the public, and a press release was completed as directed. And an overview of the airport repurposing was provided Council on December 15th, and Council provided the administration direction to bring a report to Council on January 19th, 2015 for this Council's consideration and formal direction on the airport repurposing project. Given the importance and the scope of work involved in this project, the administration is asking that the current Council reaffirm the direction to repurpose the airstrip to industrial lots as directed by the previous Council. The airport repurposing project includes the following major actions. 1, a value-added assessment of the economic development need for airstrip and future services it can provide versus the development of the lands for industrial development and purposes. And this was shared, this value-added assessment, pros and cons, was shared with Council on December 15th. 2, direction by Council to proceed with the needed actions that will enable the sale of the lands by the province to for the purposes of developing industrial lots. The actions generally include the following, with some occurring concurrently. A letter of application to the province to amend the Crown Grant Covenant for airport purposes to enable the development of the commercial or industrial lots. B, approval of the request by the province after First Nation consultation. C, appraisal of lands. D, determination of funding source and method for purchase. E, environmental assessment of the lands. F, make needed town legal planning document changes, public consultation. G, purchase lands. H, subdivide and market and sell lands. In regards to the changes needed to the town's planning documents to facilitate the repurposing of the lands, the following additional information is provided. The property is already designated on the OCP map for industrial purposes, industrial use, but some text policies do not fit the proposed new use for the industrial park. It is zoned under a zoning bylaw for its present use of CA, commercial airport, which does not allow for non-airport related industrial uses. Rather than taking an OCP and zoning amendment through in conjunction, there is, which is our normal practice, a two-step process proposed to maximize early and ongoing opportunities for public engagement. One, proposed OCP policy text amendments will be processed to change desired industrial use of the subject property from an airport to an industrial park. Two, proposed zoning bylaw amendments will be processed for changing the zoning from CA to M1 general industrial use, but the option of limited allowable site-specific uses suitable for targeting manufacturing focused enterprises rather than those of more general commercial nature. We would also accompany the zoning bylaw with an environmentally sensitive development area permit for the entire property to relieve individual lot developers of this responsibility. Both the policy text amendments and the proposed bylaw amendments require that a public hearing be held to enable public consultation. It is recommended that these legal processes be used by Council to determine public support for the project. This is a common practice used by developers as they obtain needed planning amendments prior to purchasing of lands. In terms of implications, community will benefit from additional lands being made available for development of industrial lots. Some stakeholders may wish to provide Council feedback on the proposed repurposing. Organizational, staff time will be dedicated to developing a repurposing strategy that identifies all the needed action, resources, and time frame. Additional time will be needed to implement the strategy. C, budget. A capital report in the amount of $50,000 is being developed for the 2015 budget deliberations. Additional funds will be needed to purchase lands from the province. And just in terms of the $50,000, that the proposed use of that fund is for things like, or activities like appraisals, survey, environmental assessments, and subdivision. Significant dates. Administration is targeting year-end 2015 for completing this project. In terms of options being presented by the administration, 1, pass a resolution at the January 19th, 2015 regular meeting that supports the direction in the motion IC 12114 to repurpose the airstrip to industrial lands. 2, pass a resolution that the town of Osoyoos request an amendment to the Crown Grant for airport purposes for Lot 1013, Plan KAP 39476, District Lot 2450S to enable the development of commercial or industrial parcels. 3, pass a motion at the January 19th regular meeting that changes the direction to repurpose the airstrip to industrial lands and directs the administration to remove the project from the 2015-18 business plan. Option 4, set aside the decision or direction for a later date. Option 5, set aside the decision or direction for an identified date and direct the administration to provide additional information. Administration recommends option number 1 and option number 2. The public announcement of the previous Council's decision to repurpose the airstrip to industrial lands didn't result in a large amount of public reaction. With the exception of the newly formed Airport Society, the public reaction has been positive and at best neutral. Passing this motion in a public venue will provide the public reassurance that the new Council is supportive of the motion and will action the administration to carry out the needed tasks. The administration also recommends that the public consultation be included in the legal consultation processes needed to make the needed changes to the OCP and rezoning.
Thank you, Mr. Hermanko. This morning at our CAL meeting, we had the Airport Society here, and they're not called that, the Osoyoos Airport Development Society, and they spent quite a long time explaining why they felt that we should continue with an airport expansion and not repurpose the airport. So this has become a bit of a hot issue. So I'll turn this over to Council for comments. Councillor Campbell.
Based on the presentation this morning and a lot of new information or thoughts to consider that I don't think can be considered in a matter of hours, I'd like to make a motion to set aside the decision or direction for a later date.
So that would be option number 4.
Correct.
I'll second.
And Councillor Youngberg seconds the motion. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to that?
Yes,
Madam Mayor. Councillor King.
If we did do option 1 and 2 and we got, say, halfway through the process and we felt, well, that was actually the wrong decision, can we kind of rescind what we're doing and change our mind?
Yes, council can change their mind at any point in time. The only thing that the administration was looking to move this project ahead is that we have to make that application to the province, and they require about 140 days, they say, in their process. So an early acknowledgement to proceed would enable us to to action the process, and then council could change their minds later on. Again, it just is the public perception, I think, relative to making a decision and then in changing. But a decision at this time, a positive decision to proceed, would enable us to action that letter and the request and initiate that 140-day process to try and meet our objective of completing this project by year end, should council be supportive.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Youngberg, did you?
Just a comment regarding the time frame. I fully understand that time is just so important, but at the same time, from my position, the time is really important that we don't destroy something that we have on the basis that we want to hurry up to make a decision. I'd like to see us look at it just a little bit longer. This is the first opportunity that I have had as a new councillor to access the information that they brought forward this morning. So that's just a comment from me, my personal opinion.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So in the committee of the whole meeting this morning, I made a comment that I was conflicted, and every time we see more information about the airport, I become more and more conflicted about just about all of the matters. But I think that I'm going to have to speak against the motion. I think the time frame that we're looking at, being the year end, gives us an entire year to back out of this, the moving forward with the repurposing. Should any, more information or anything positive, or say a development application or something comes along, we need to be prepared for those eventualities. And stopping this process right now, although it's a reasonably good idea to do that, would in fact stop the project from moving forward at all. When you go through these processes and you're dealing with our provincial government, one of the downsides of doing that is the lengthy time that it takes to get through the bureaucracy and the decision-making process. And we're just starting off on this, and I would like to remind this current council that past council thought it was a good idea. Not to say that that has any influence on anything, but it was a pretty solid decision, and part of that was based on our ability to stop it at any time. You know, we can just through a simple motion like is being proposed today. But my argument is to stop it today stops any progress, period. And if anything comes along, you know, including the possibility that this new Struck Airport Development Committee said, quite frankly, this morning that their proposal may be to move forward with repurposing as well. So all of those options are in front of us right now. And I would like to, and the reason why I'm speaking against it, just to repeat myself for effect, is stopping it now stops everything. And, you know, it's going to take weeks and months for us to even get answers from the provincial government. So if we want those answers, we're going to have to recreate this thing over again. And so that's why I'm having a little bit of difficulty. In essence, it's a good way to deal with it, but it certainly stops this project from just moving forward in its entirety. So,
oh, thank you, Councillor Rhodes. I totally understand that, and I tend to agree with for your reasons for continuing this. I know that that our three new councillors are new at this at dealing with this kind of information. But past council did spend a great deal of time looking at this, talking about it, and we did unanimously support the redirection, the repurposing of the land. So while I'm totally torn back and forth on this, and I totally understand the need to take another look at it, I still think that we have that option to do that while we go ahead with it, because and no matter what we do, it's going to take a long time, I'm sure. So this, yes, Mr. Romanko, would you like to?
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I do think that that I feel the same way as Councillor Rhodes on this. That I would like to see it go forward, but obviously we're going to do a lot more discussion about this, and we're going to to continue on. So.
Yeah, and I was just going to speak to the point of you know, starting the process. Is realistically the only investment that council is making is $200 to make the application. And like I said, it's you know, they say that their application time frame is 140 days, so there would be no additional funds spent you know, until you know, until we, or no other activity until we get that approval from the province. At that point in time, I could bring back that approval to council and just do a temperature check or a direction check relative to the process. And it
thank you. That makes more sense than I was thinking. We may be looking at 50,000, but obviously that's not until we get this other. So $200 to get the application started, to me, makes is a sensible way to continue. But we do. Is there anyone else? We do have a motion on the floor. Miss Scott, would you like to read that for us, please?
Yes. Moved by Councillor Campbell, second Councillor Youngberg, and resolved that Council approves setting aside to a later date the decision or direction to repurpose the airstrip to industrial lands.
Thank you. Are we ready for the question? All in favor? All, you're in favor? All against?
Oh, sorry, I made the motion, so.
Oh, you don't have to vote for it, but can we go? Can I ask that again?
Yeah.
I will ask that again. All in favor of the motion to keep it? Against? That motion fails. So is there someone who would like to make another motion? Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So I'd offer a motion based on the wording in options 1 and 2.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor King? You have explained that, so is there anything else that we need to look at? Yes.
If I could maybe just take a look. The report identifies the recommendation of having two motions. The option number 1 that motion very specifically speaks to passing a resolution that supports the direction of the previous council. So, and the second motion was the motion administratively that I needed to take to the province. So if there is, I guess that conflicting nature amongst council right now, realistically, all I need is the option number 2 motion that provides for that administrative action.
Thank you. That I'm glad that you stepped in and said that. Councillor Rhodes, would you like to?
Yes, I'll withdraw my motion and offer the motion based on option number 2.
Councillor King, that's okay with you?
Yes.
All right. All in favor of that motion? Against? Thank you. That passed. Okay. Next we have notice of motion. Does anyone have a notice of motion? No? Then general net payroll, Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts. So the general Sun Bowl, the general cash requirements up to January the 19th, 2015 are $1,076,888.01. Sun Bowl cash requirements $12,505.18, and net payroll accounts of $135,232.44. So we approved the general and Sun Bowl Arena cash requirements, and we received the net payroll funding. So we need a motion to receive the general and Sun Bowl. Am I correct? Okay. Could we have a motion to do that, please? Thank you. Campbell Rhodes. And the net payroll accounts are, they're just approved? Okay. So we're done? That's all right? Thank you. Sorry, get that kind of mixed up. I know there's 2 different things there. Next is the Town of Osoyoos summary of building permits. And up to the end of 2014, we had a total of $6,692,700, and that beat out our total of 2013, which was $6,221,000. So I can see that we have a couple of houses being built and some other things. So do we need a motion to accept that building permit? Okay, could I have a motion to accept the building permit for the term? Rhodes King, thank you. Pardon me? Oh, absolutely. Go ahead, please. Councillor Rhodes, comment.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So we get these every month, and I wanted to point out that we exceeded by a small amount over 2013, as Mayor McCordoff pointed out. I just wanted to bring attention to the fact that, these building reports are a very good barometer of our economy in Osoyoos, and they're one of the many documents that you can look at to see how things are going, in our community economy-wise. And, I know this is a stretch, and I'm taking a long time to say it. Almost all of the dollar value of 2014 was in the last 3 months of 2014. And that kind of is a signal of a little bit of energy that's happening in our economy, these jobs, these projects that are taken on that are listed on these reports, they employ people, and, people sell products and buy things and that kind of thing. And I just thought it would be important to bring that to our attention. The first 9 months of last year, there was absolutely nothing in our reports. And I think we actually had 1 month where the value was 0. So the energy is in the last quarter of the year, and I thought that was pretty important to point that out, because I can see it carrying on throughout this year as well. So.
Good point. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Okay, so we are going to go back to the committee reports. I don't think we have any of those. Is there anybody? Were you going to mention that in your council report? Okay.
I can do it now or later.
All right. Councillor Rhodes and I were at the Fire Hall Committee meeting, so he's going to report on that.
So you'd like me to do it now?
Sure.
Okay. Just a quick report out to council and any interested people in the community. Now that the election is over and we've kind of gone into a little bit of a holding pattern with our fire hall in the community, I just wanted to let everybody know that we did have a meeting on January 9th, and I was attended by Mayor McCordoff, CAO Barry Romanko, Director Cunningham, Rick Jones, Bill Roque, and Blake Ogilvie from the fire department. They're the representatives. And there was also 3 representatives, one each from the electrical contractor, the mechanical contractor, and the site preparation company that does all the grading and the site preparation before construction starts. So there was a lot of stuff that went on during the meeting. It was a multi-hour thing. I think we were there for about 4 hours. And just to summarize, some of the details that we were talking about were placement of electrical plugs, some of the mechanical placement of the equipment. Very, very little in the way of redesign in the building. It seemed like the position that we were at was remaining exactly the same. And I wanted everybody to know that we're really down to kind of the fine details of the final design in that building, which is going to help us gain a lot of significant progress towards finalizing the working drawings, which are the ones that the shovels in the ground right after that sort of thing. There really was no major obstacles. I think everybody that was there would concur with that, or difficulties in any way that it's going to affect or delay the progress in any way. So I just thought it was a good thing to for everybody to know that we're moving forward with it. It's getting to be more and more exciting every day that goes by. The main architect engineer had some flight issues. He was not able to attend, but I heard just before the meeting today that he will be here again soon, so there'll be even more progress moving forward with that. So I just thought it would be a worthwhile thing to mention that. And yeah, exciting times. It's going to be an interesting community project for everybody.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rhodes. It was also pointed out that while it seemed a little tedious when we were talking about plug placement and doors and that kind of thing, it makes total sense now to make sure that they're in the right place rather than later and you have to make changes. So this doesn't cost anything to look at it right now. Anything more? Thank you. Okay, could we have the CAO report, please? Mr. Romanko.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just a few of the items and activities that our administration has been involved in the last while. Starting first of all in the Community Services Department, where winter programs are underway and planning has started for spring and summer. The most popular programs this session are Crafty Kids, soccer, and basketball. Upcoming special events include Communities for Kids Family Fair on January 31st and a Family Day event on February 9th. We are planning something similar to last year at the arena with a public skate event and goodies. The Community Services Grant Program has been advertised, and the deadline to submit your applications is February 27th, and the program information is available on the website. The showers, the women's shower and change rooms are almost completed and will be available very soon. And anybody who would like to submit their name to sit on the Recreation Commission has until January 30th, and the information's on our website. Corporate Services, the Deputy Corporate Officer, attended the South and Interior Bylaw Dispute Adjudication Registry meeting for information gathering processes. Several internal postings have been made and filled. With the retirement of Carol Nisdoli, Operations Services Clerk was filled by Casey Brower. Temporary medical leave, accounting clerk, will be covered by Brianne Hilson. Postings for Development Services Clerk for 8 weeks and for part-time Community Service Assistant are currently in place. And preliminary work is being started on the collective bargaining process. Bylaw enforcement is busy between snow removal and dog issues and parking complaints. And in finance, they're working on the budget finalization for council, the year-end reports, and updating pre-authorized payment for property taxes. Planning and Development, they've done a request for proposal, which is posted inviting consultants to submit proposals for project advancement study for a new pier at the eastern end of Gyro Park, which was a priority of the charrette plan developed 2 years ago and endorsed by council. The selected consultant will be required to review local lake conditions, develop and cost an overall concept, identify needed environmental approvals, and meet with the waterfront steering committee. In terms of public works, certainly we had the one huge snowfall, and our crews did handle that very, very well. There were piles of snow, and they're being removed today, and until we are completed. As a result of some of the feedback we reviewed, the Public Works Department will be bringing a request for policy to council in relation to kind of an addendum to our snow removal policy relative to piles. In the past, the removal was basically left to the decision of the Public Works Department, and we want to be responsive, but we want to be responsive to what council's direction is. In terms of capital project reports, there have been many of them come out of the Public Works Department, and the old shop upgrades are well underway, and that's the Cactus Center that's being renovated for Public Works purposes again. In terms of myself, certainly the numerous things in around budget meeting and budget report development. We did have the public budget meeting and also our strategic planning session, and I was able to get out a request for proposals on the water meter strategy. And that's my report for today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Romanko. Could I have a motion to accept the report? King Youngberg, all in favor? Thank you. Carried. And on to council reports, and first is Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I just wanted to acknowledge a few things happening in the community that are positive. One being our snowbird. Our snowbirds days here have literally almost doubled in the last 2 years. And speaking to some of the accommodators, the effort on their part and the effort from DO has really started to pay off, and we're certainly seeing a major growth in snowbirds within the community. I also wanted to acknowledge the Hockey Academy program at the elementary school, which was a beta test run through Hockey Canada. They have now reached out looking for feedback from all involved to look toward whether this is something that will continue and go well into the future. And then lastly, just the Area 27 project that's been in the works for the last couple of years just got past a major hurdle as far as the Osoyoos Indian Band vote to be able to move forward. So very exciting to think about potentially having an exciting, unique attraction like that near our community here. And just to thank CA Romanko for arranging the workshop for the strategic planning with Gord McIntosh that I thought was very worthwhile, and thank you for that.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, thank you. Yeah, I think we had a great strategic planning session last week with all of council and mayor and staff, so I believe you'll start seeing some great ideas coming forward next year. And I also look forward to the new government leadership program this week that will orientate us more on how we move forward as a council.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So I really don't have much to report on because the fire hall, but I do have one thing. So throughout this meeting today, and certainly in the community, we've heard an awful lot about repurposing the airport, and just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that the best way to get through this is to listen to as much of the community that we can and gather as much information as we can from everybody. And we had three great representatives here this morning, as was previously mentioned. One of the things that I really got out of that part of the committee of the whole meeting this morning was those two words, win-win. And I know Councillor Campo and I had a few brief conversations about it, and it seems to be the way that we're going to go when we can do as much as we can. But the reason for bringing this up in my report is to remind everybody that our committee of the whole meetings at 9 o'clock in the morning are now on Granicus. You can go onto the internet through the town website, and you can view everything that went on in that meeting, all of the conversation. Anybody that has any interest in airport repurposing, the airport, airplanes, or anything related to it, go onto the website, have a look what was said this morning. It was good, solid, quality information that just opens up a whole other dynamic for airport development. So I really encourage you to do that. So once again, go to the Town of Osoyoos website. There is a link on there. It takes you about 2 minutes, and you can be viewing that meeting that was held this morning. So yeah, go ahead and you'll enjoy watching that portion of it.
Thank you. Carol Youngberg. Councillor Youngberg. Councillor Carol Youngberg.
That's all right. Thank you, Mayor McCorduff. Wishing everybody a very positive 2015. We're moving ahead in a very positive manner with our strategic planning sessions that we're attending, both of them this week and next week coming up. We're also, I'm representing the library on the Regional Library Board, and so I'm looking forward to meeting with the local committee here, which I'm going to meet before the end of January, and then attending the Regional Library Board meeting in the middle of February. And just as a matter of fact, on the Desert Parks submission, I'm in the process of turning the reins over, but I would like to say that it's one of the things that I'm wishing them well with. They've got 110 horses coming. I'm not sure where we're going to put them all, but it's a great winter training. The park's moving ahead, and I wish the whole new committee the best of luck.
Good, thank you very much. And from my point of view, it's been a busy month, and somebody said to me, are you going to take a holiday? And I said, I don't think I have time, but I mean, I will have to make time at some point. However, we had a public meeting, which we held here last Monday on budget considerations, and we do appreciate people taking the time to attend that. We all thoroughly enjoyed the strategic planning meeting last Thursday and Friday, and Gord McIntosh, who was the leader of that, just has a way of drawing out the best in all of us with his sense of humor and his understanding. And for the next 3 days, we're going to be in Kelowna at local government meetings, and he will be there again. So for people that have already been on council, so I look forward to dealing with that. I'm also a director on the RDOS now, and have been appointed as a director for the Okanagan Basin Water Board. So I haven't been to any of those meetings yet, but I look forward to that. I think that's so important for our end of the valley to have representation on that. But the RDOS meetings have been on budget as well, and I just want to say that the budget for the Area A, which surrounds Osoyoos, they will be coming down, the RDOS representatives. They'll be coming down and making a presentation here in the next couple of weeks. So anybody who's interested in that should attend and ask questions. I was also at a South Okanagan Immigrant and Community Services meeting in Penticton, and they have a very interesting group of people that help local immigrants with taxes and banking and how to take part in the community. So it's a good program. I was also asked last week to be a judge at the O's Own Writing. They had a contest and they asked people to submit short stories, and there were 15 of them, and many of them were read at the award ceremony. And you know, I don't know the two people that won. I know that their picture will be in the paper because Mr. McGuire, Richard McGuire, was also one of the judges. So that was kind of fun. And there are some very good writers in this town. I just want to say something about the snow removal that Mr. Manco mentioned. Last week we did have a lot of snow here piled up in the corners, and I know that Public Works was busy. It was kind of difficult to see, and we did hear from a few people that they were having trouble backing out of parking places because the piles of snow were there. So thank you very much to all of the Public Works employees for getting a lot of that snow out of the way, and I know they're continuing to move it too. We're not the only place at Penticton, and they've had difficult times too, so it doesn't happen that often, but we do appreciate it. This Friday, the South Okanagan Chamber of Commerce awards dinner is on for businesses, and it's up at, you can get tickets at the South Okanagan Chamber, and it's at Spirit Ridge. So it's a good event to go to. And on Saturday night, the Desert Sun Counseling Grand Night is on at the Watermark, and that's another good fundraiser. So there are lots of people being involved in volunteering in this community, and of course, it's all wonderful. So thank you all for listening on Channel 10 today and watching, and I hope everyone continues to have a safe and happy 2015. Get out and enjoy the day today because it's lovely and we have a nice sunny warm day. So thank you all, and could we have a motion to close the meeting? 1, 2, thank you. I have to lean over to this way. All in favor? All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, everyone.